right, so this is Hardly Hooched. We're sitting down with Daniel Stamm, writer and director of the upcoming 13 Sins. Thanks for joining us, Daniel.
Thanks for having me.
So we do want to talk about 13 Sins, but first we'd like to talk about you, because we first fell in love with you, not in the weird way,
No.
but with The Last Exorcism.
You're cute and all, but yeah.
So The Last Exorcism is like probably the only exorcism movie besides the original that we actually enjoyed. I mean,
oh wow, that means a lot. Thanks.
It was wonderful, man. And so tell us a little bit about your background. I read some interesting stuff. You're from Hamburg, right?
I'm from Hamburg. I wanted to be a writer more than anything because I was a big kind of Dungeons and Dragons role-playing nerd, when I was in my teens. And I thought there's got to be a way to do this for a living. What do I have to study? Which university do I have to go to never have to stop playing Dungeons and Dragons? So I thought I want to be a writer and just kind of this process of being able to create something from scratch that doesn't exist, and you just think of it, and then you talk to people about it, and suddenly it exists for that group of people that you're talking to, was just the most magical thing that I'd ever experienced. But in Germany, you can't really be a writer. That's not how it works. You can be stuff that a university will give you a diploma for, give you a stamp for, and then you're allowed to call yourself an engineer or a doctor or whatever. But a writer didn't really fit. So I always had to make up kind of alibi career choices. I was like, I want to be a journalist, but I always knew I didn't want to be a journalist, but that sounded better for my parents and everyone involved. So then I went to film school for a screenwriting program for 4 years. But I wasn't really a big film buff at the time. I just wanted to write. And that's what that was. There was 4 years of writing, and so much that at some point it became bothersome. My friends were always coming back with these amazing stories from set and these adventures, and they were working with these beautiful women and bikinis and cheerleading scenes, whatever. And I was sitting in my little room, and I couldn't understand how, if I had come up with the story and with the characters, and I had it all in my head, some other guy, some big shot director guy is now coming in, taking my story away, calling it his, screwing it up, probably, chances are in the process, when all I had to do was to communicate my story to a production designer, to a cinematographer, and to a couple of actors. I was like, I could do that. And then I went to Los Angeles to study directing there for 2.5 years. And I met my cinematographer that I've shot everything with in the last 10 years, and my editor, and we're kind of this tight-knit group.
Oh, awesome.
And I think the danger is always, after film school, that you want to make these big budget movies, these kind of $80 million movies, so people are developing their scripts for years, and they are fundraising for years, and they're always waiting for someone to come along and give them that money and greenlight their big budget movie. And it's not happening, and most people never shoot anything again, and we didn't want to fall into that trap. And especially our cinematographer said, let's just shoot something. We don't need a script, we'll just go out and shoot. And we did that, and we shot a movie called A Necessary Death that took 3 years to shoot, because if you don't have a script, you just go with any idea that you have in the morning. And then we were starting to edit and something wouldn't work, we just say, let's just call the actors, give me the camera, and we'll just reshoot some scenes. And so it mushroomed into this never-ending project, which was beautiful on the one hand because it was a complete non-budget project. Everyone was bringing their own lunch. No one was paid to do anything. It was 4 people, 3 actors, 5 people, 1 cinematographer and me.
Wow.
And we had a really good time. And finally, when it was done, it went to South by Southwest. So that was the first festival that I ever had a film at. And then we won the Audience Award, which sounds great, at AFI Fest, which is a really prestigious festival. But now that I've seen it, I figured out how to win audience awards. You screen your movie in your hometown. You invite all your friends. You're screening it in the smallest theater, because obviously it's a percentage thing. How big was your audience? How many? You screen it in the smallest theater, and then you get really adorable people to do the Q&A afterwards. And then you remind people to vote for your film, because most people just don't vote because they go home, they think about the movie that they don't really, and bang, there you are, you've won an audience award. So it's not that spectacular if you've seen how it's done, but it's spectacular in what it does for your career, because suddenly everyone that didn't pay attention, had never heard of the movie, is knocking on your door, and that was a really fun time because suddenly Hollywood happened. Right. And Last Exorcism was part of that Hollywood that suddenly happened. And that's a whole different story. That's the story you were asking me about, though.
Can't knock your hustle on that. You actually play that very well.
We could certainly talk about Last Exorcism for hours.
We certainly can.
Real quick, before we talk about 13 Sins, I saw that you're a certified hypnotist.
I am a certified hypnotist. Thank you very much. Yeah. We were just bored. Our same group, my editor in Los Angeles, an actress we'd been working with, and we just had the feeling we were spending our life inside of this movie bubble, and we realized that none of us had hobbies or anything outside of making movies. And we really kind of sat down and said, what could we do as a hobby? And then someone came up with this hypnosis class. There is a hypnosis center in Los Angeles, I think somehow close where you guys are, in Tarzana. You're in Venice or something, right?
Yeah, we're close by.
Right. So if you want to check it out, Tarzana, the Hypnosis Institute. And they had free introductory courses. So we went and we took it very seriously. And it was actually incredible because I didn't really believe in it. I believed in hypnosis as much as I believe in ghosts or something.
Right.
I just, went to make fun of it. And it's such a science. And it really works. I'm not very good at it. I don't think that I could really hypnotize someone. Plus, our introductory course was kind of about putting someone under, and that's where it stopped. So I'd have no idea what to do with someone once I have hypnotized them. But I just went to a hypnotist a couple of weeks ago, and it's really amazing. That stuff really works.
Okay.
So if you find like a Groupon or something online, $29 hypnosis session, I'd recommend that you go. It's crazy.
I'll write that down.
Actually, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Why not?